First Lady Melania Trump has just made her first appearance before the media for the first time in 26 days since May 10th. Shortly before she underwent a kidney procedure, the president acknowledged his wife while they visited FEMA headquarters just a short while ago.
Of course, we have to start with our great First Lady, Melania. Thank you, Melania. She's doing great. She went through a little rough patch, but she's doing great, and we're very proud of her. She's done a fantastic job as First Lady. The people love you. People of our country love you.
The president and First Lady were at FEMA headquarters for a briefing on the new hurricane season, which started 5 days ago. We should also mention her poll numbers. There's a new Quinnipiac poll out, and it shows that Melania Trump has a higher approval rating than most administration officials, including her husband. Kate Bennett was in the room. Of course, she follows all things Melania Trump for us. So Kate, 26 days without being in the public eye. Did she say anything? Speak up at the event? What were your initial impressions?
Well, she looked well, Brooke. Even just sort of, she seemed very much herself, wearing a coat dress and her high heels, as she often does. She did not say anything. She sort of sat quietly, nodded along, listened as the president spoke to members of his cabinet around the table at that FEMA briefing. We didn't hear from her personally or given any remarks. I did see her later, though, in a room in FEMA when the president and First Lady and Vice President Mike Pence came down to thank FEMA workers. She did sort of work the room, shake hands, make eye contact, stuff that she has done before at public events, I should say. It's not unusual for her not to necessarily speak. We've seen her at these hurricane recovery briefings last year after the hurricanes, sitting mostly quietly by the president's side as a briefing is received. So not unusual, but I have to say she looked well and seemed very much like her old self. There was no real sort of outward appearance that she'd been ill or anything like that.
Of course, we wish her well. 26 days. Why do you think she selected this particular event to be out there?
Well, I think the hurricane season last year really affected the First Lady, as it did most of the country. She was with the president in Florida, in Texas, and in Puerto Rico. She returned to Texas on her own to Corpus Christi with Second Lady Karen Pence to unveil a FEMA trailer and pack some boxes at a food bank and pop by Whataburger, if you remember that trip well. This is just something that she seemed to have developed an interest in. She has recorded one public service announcement, one PSA only in her tenure, and that was in October, and it was about hurricane relief, reminding Americans to be vigilant and support people who've lost things and encouraging people to donate their time and volunteer. So it appears to be, although not necessarily in her Be Best platform, appears to be something that she's very interested in. Went along today.
One more. We've just gotten some news on Rudy Giuliani, right? So he's one of the president's lawyers now. He's at this conference in Tel Aviv, and he just told this crowd that Melania Trump does not believe that her husband had an affair with Stormy Daniels. This is the quote from Rudy Giuliani. She believes her husband, and she doesn't think it's true. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, the First Lady has never commented publicly in the face of all the Stormy Daniels headlines. And quite honestly, Brooke, I feel like the American public has sort of rewarded her for that with these poll numbers, which keep going up and up in the face of her silence. Her office, I asked for comment on Mr. Giuliani's comments just now. I've not heard back. She has not spoken publicly about it, so it's difficult to say whether or not Mr. Giuliani was basing his statements off of fact or just sort of thinking out loud. It's very difficult to say, but certainly not a topic that the First Lady has touched.
Kate Bennett at the White House for us this afternoon. Kate, thank you.